Today's episode of Shifting Gears is brought to you by arrows. Why do you need bullets for a one-time use when you can use arrows? All you have to do is find them and use them over and over and over again. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Shifting Gears. I am your host, Joshua Gray. They call me Clutch online. Joining me, it's kind of a consistent pattern now with these two handsome devils. I have David Benz, a.k.a. DB Wiggin, joining us today. How you doing, Dave?
Pretty good, man. It's a brisk 91 degrees Fahrenheit here today, so I'm hoping it's a little bit cooler on your side of the country come Thursday.
You know, I live in the desert, so it's kind of hot all the time. But thank you. And joining us as well, our fellow Australian from South Australia. He's living in the cold right now because it's flipped on that side of the world. It is Duckville, and I can't even remember your full real name, man.
I don't have a real name. That's no. that's for slaves.
We just call you Duckville.
Yeah. It's actually Duck and then Ville. That's like my real name.
And the LOL is like a junior.
Yeah, that's like a family name thing. I am still recovering from a ZVZ that I had last night. It was just amazing. So yeah, I'm still recovering from that.
Great.
It was one of those games where I was behind like all the game. I play random, by the way, if anyone doesn't know. I was behind the entire game. I hate Zerg versus Zerg. I was about to quit, and then I hit that fungal where you get the entire meter clump, and it's like, yes, yes, and brought it back. And just started powering up hydras and roaches, and just somehow in the game I was like, I don't even know what's happening.
Nice, man.
It was just awesome.
Congratulations. Anyways. I was undefeated one day last week when I was laddering in StarCraft 2. That was a great feeling. I was doing work. This guy tried to Thor rush me on this map that I can't even remember the map name, but it was a weird map. It was part of the pool, and all of a sudden I send a couple Marines and a tank out to do an initial push. And he just got all these Thors and all his SCVs surrounding the Thor, and I go, uh-oh. So I had two siege tanks on the top of the area where he's going to push in front, stopped him here pretty quickly, so that was a lot of fun. And it's going to be really, really good with a lot of magical things happening for StarCraft since I'm going to be the host for WCS America. So there's a lot of work that we have to do to make it a great broadcast, but that's what you guys have come to expect with NASL and Hero Level Productions. So it's great, and we're really proud of what we were able to do for World of Tanks. And honestly, it reminds me of 2010, man, when StarCraft was just getting started in America, and how I was present in helping that become what it is today, and now doing the same thing for World of Tanks. So it's fun times. Today we're going to talk about Home Story Cup and the Red Bull Training Grounds from what we saw and how they kind of fit right now in the narrative of the esports scene right now. We're going to talk about the players and preview for MLG. Some Dota 2 news real briefly. World of Tanks Qualifier 1 and 2 is completed. League play will begin in July. Talk about that. I was able to play Tomb Raider, which I really enjoyed. These guys, I don't think even played it, so that's going to be me talking about how much I liked it and some things that could change. And again, Da Vinci's Demons. These guys don't even watch the show, but it's a great show, and a really cool thing happened with the secret Vatican archives I'd love to talk about and get your guys' thoughts on. And finally, in our Opine section, is it even worth making multiplayer in some games? So first off, let's talk about Home Story Cup 7, I believe was the number here. Congratulations to Tasia, he wins. Congratulations to Team Liquid, they had an all-Liquid finals. It's an EU event, and the Europeans kind of love the more down-home type of style that is Home Story Cup and the great job that Take does. However, with the narrative that is WCS, is this a type of a tournament that you guys feel would deserve WCS points if somebody won? Or is it more simply for the players to have a kind of retreat, a competitive good time, and it's a successful stream because it's just goofing off and enjoying some StarCraft among friends? Dave, I want to hear your thoughts first.
You know, to be honest, I think it doesn't really matter if it gets WCS points or not, because it fits into that perfect niche of tournament where it's just there for entertainment, really. Like, it's a great stream to watch, it's entertaining, everybody's relaxed. It doesn't have to be this like high stakes thing that's dominated by Koreans. So I mean, I guess you could give You could give some WCS points, which I think they did, right? Doesn't they earn something for this one?
I'll have to go back. I'll have to go and see. I haven't seen any news or information about that yet.
I mean, you could give some WCS points as a reward to the winner because it is still a tough competition, but I don't think it's really about that. I think it's about just an entertaining event for people, and I think that's a really good niche to fill into if you're not one of the major WCS events like an MLG or NASL stuff now or something like that.
I think the difficulty of adding points in there is some players will complain like, well, I didn't get invited to go to Home Story Cup and I would have gone, so that's points that I don't feel I have access to, and that's therefore not fair. I wonder if any players would ever bring that argument up. Looks like Albayaro, I apologize if I said your name wrong, saying that the winner got 250 WCS points. I'm sorry I don't have the information readily available, guys. I just didn't have time to actually find if they got points or not because of all the different things we're working on here. But Duckville, you know, I want Duckville to jump in real quick because of the Australians and the amount of events that they're going to have access to get WCS points. Would you guys like to have an event like Home Story Cup that gave WCS points and that was fun for the different players that were down there?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I mean, when you consider that, well, it's partly the reason why you won't find too many C-based people who are big fans of WCS, and I suppose it does resonate across much of the globe. But we, in a different sort of perspective, but the C players were told effectively because, you know, for some reason there's no event in like Singapore or China or something like that that our guys could have gone to. There's no event down here in Australia at all, and so the C players were effectively told, yeah, you guys can compete in WCS, just do it in WCS Korea. And then it was like, oh well, yeah, you might not be able to do that, so compete in WCS America with the 200 and you know, it sort of depends, but like roughly 200 MS, and it's like, yeah, this is great, guys, thanks for that. So, it would be nice to have our own event, and I personally love Home Story Cup. For me, the events during the year, it's DreamHack comes first, and then Home Story Cup are my two favorite events, of like sort of events to watch of the year, because I love the LAN sort of settings, and I think I actually had a really cool idea, but I can't actually talk about it just yet. But I love the LAN setting because I think that for, you know, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I'm sure everyone would remember something like having a LAN with your friends, playing some, you know, Doom 2, Duke Nukem 3D, something like that. I can't even remember what was that. Yeah, like basic Counter-Strike like that, and you know, just sort of those fun LAN games that you can have, Command and Conquer and Total Annihilation, that sort of stuff, where you get together and you do have a really cool local sort of event, that kind of stuff. You don't necessarily need to be, you don't have to be DreamHack with like thousands of people coming, but you can, you know, I used to have, we called them Doom Days because we would have, we would only play Doom 2 basically at the time, and you know, used to have events like that where it was probably like 10, 15 people. It was mostly my dad's friends at the time because obviously I was a lot younger then. And yeah, so I really like those events. As for WCS points, I don't know if those sorts of things should have them. I personally would like to see a different level of events where, as Wigan said earlier before, or one of you said earlier before, where it's more like players can chill out, they can have some fun. They don't have to bother with being like, firstly, oh my god, I have to beat Koreans, otherwise I don't get points, and effectively this is a wasted trip for me. And then they can chill out and have some fun. Like, I don't know. I kind of would like to see those.
This is why Blizzard has different tiers. This is going to the website for Team Liquid. This is a tier 2 WCS event. It's not a tier 1 event. And a tier 1 event is those bigger events that you're talking about. So 1,200 WCS points are distributed among the top 16 for this event. So that has been confirmed. Thank you for that link in the chat there, Albayero. I think that's okay. I think that's fine. But again, is there the same amount of tier 2 events across all the regions for America and for Korea? That's again, I don't want to penalize Home Story Cup because it's great, and it's great that Blizzard awards those events. I'm not saying they should change. I'm just saying, is there the equivalent or will there be the equivalent amount of type of tournaments that is like Home Story Cup? And that's why I wanted to bring up Red Bull, because that was more of a chill event for the different players, for those 8 different players that got invited. It was more about the players and them having a good time rather than a serious, huge competition with, 256 players. 16 top Koreans are going to be there, and they have to worry about that. That's a Tier 1 event in my mind. That's how a Tier 1 event works.
Yeah. No, it's something I think. I think the quite ironic part about doing those sorts of events, like in other regions as well, is that if you did have one in here in Australia, like there would be so many people that would compete that then wouldn't actually get any more points later on during the year. Like you could have, let's just say like a top 5 or something, and let's say Moonglade and Pig were the top 2, and then like someone like Petraeus was after. The other next 2 slots, the players won't necessarily get any more points for the rest of the year, and I think that'd be heavily criticized, because obviously a very critical kind of community. But
and I see 0 confirmation for WCS points for Red Bull. So Red Bull was its own separate event. WCS was not involved. But yeah, hopefully, I think Australia definitely deserves to have at least a Tier 2 event. And it's run.
And if not Australia, like I've said many times before, even Singapore, players here are happy to go to Singapore. It's not exactly like the furthest to go to. So
do you think Singapore would cater to the Chinese players as well?
Maybe, I possibly, but I don't really know. I'm not sure like the politics or that sort of regional sort of thing. But I think maybe like Lona or someone would head over for something like that. Like they did actually have, like, I just want to point out, there was a Blizzard sponsored event, which actually I think is finishing up this weekend. It's called the Vengeance Cup, and it was in Singapore, and it was actually like all their qualifiers have actually only been at a LAN. Can't actually really compete online. So it's kind of weird. It's like kind of like Blizzard said, yeah, we're sorry we had this, and then so we've had like this $5,000 event. So there is something happening. It's just, there's no WCS relevance, which to me is just a bit of a joke.
I have a question for you on that, Dugville, because that is your scene. Do you think that what do you think the underlying reason that there haven't been more events in that region is? Do you think it's a perceived lack of audience interest, or do you think there might be like still some lingering unease based on some of the tournament debacles that have happened over there?
That second point regarding some various tournament issues that I can't actually go into it too much, but yeah, there were some problems that were had that certain people weren't happy about, but it's a combination of so many things. It's the factor that we won't necessarily have a huge amount of crowds turning up. Like I think people certainly underestimate how many people are going to show up. Like for WCS Australia, that was up in Sydney, they had like the venue was like what was it? It was like a 200-person capacity or something like that. Bam! As soon as Tasis and Artosis are coming down, bloody doors were getting slammed on by nerds who were trying to get inside, and I think we may have gone over capacity as well, which is another story, but. I think, it's mostly a factor of that it's expensive to get people down here. Like, if Blizzard was going to say, we need a host, we're going to send Clutch, we need 2 good casters, we're going to send Tasis and Artosis, that's like, that's like a couple $1,000 just to send you guys down here.
You guys already got Maynard. I wouldn't want to take Maynard's spot. He's great.
Oh, no. Well, no, I'm not saying.
I know what you're saying.
I'm just saying, like, giving perspective on cost for that kind of stuff. Yeah. Then you've got to pay for, then the players have to look at the cost to come down here as well, all this kind of stuff. And then there is the issue, it's issue in a way of that there aren't necessarily easily, readily available venues for this kind of thing. But as I said, that's an issue. I personally think that's a bit of a joke issue, but some people hype it up as.
What about tying it to bigger events? For example, the PAX event, first time happening in Australia this year. Is that something that Blizzard Australia would think, hey, let's tie this into the PAX event, since you know, there's already there's already be production around there, and there's already be internet capabilities around there. Why don't we jump on board for that? Do you think that's a viable option?
I think it should be. Yeah, if like they were ever going to do it, that should be one of the ways that it could be done. Is
Or
like
the Electronic Boutique Expo, I believe what you guys have down there, or whatever. What was that convention they had last year where you guys had the you had Docs, some other members talk to one of the representatives. I think it was over GameSpot was doing it. Do you know what I'm talking about? You look confused, so we're gonna move on.
Sorry, no,
right.
I was just reading. I was trying to get something about the Vengeance Cup. What did you? Sorry, could you go over it again?
It was. I think it's Electronic Boutique Expo that you have in Australia.
Oh, the EB Expo. Yeah.
Yeah.
They had that. There was.
That's
a
what
big
EB
event.
stands for, Electronics Boutique. By the way.
Yeah.
Okay.
I that was also partly why I was confused. I was like, shit, what does that mean? What does that mean? Oh,
EB Games.
God.
EB Games,
Jeez,
yeah.
who says Electronic Boutique? God.
Well, they're
Not
the
that
same
fancy
company
down
as
here.
GameStop now. So.
Oh, right, yeah. That was a really good event too. I didn't actually get to watch much of that because I was working at the time, but I think if there is any way that they're going to get something cool going, it's either to tie it on to those sort of convention things that would happen here, like as you said, PAX or whatever, or you know, there's going to need to be some sort of proper thing that gets set up, like you know, an ASL kind of thing, in a way.
Yeah. All right, right on. Let's talk a little bit more about Red Bull Training Grounds. First off, congratulations, Golden. The 40-40 was a big hit in that quote that happened, which was really, really funny. And the players were treated very, very well. And this is a type of event, again, that seems like a retreat for the players, where we as an audience are entertained by the different things that happen outside of the game, and to see good gameplay as well as the players break down with serious analytical type, you know, a commentary, because it's a little bit less pressure upon them to perform and more of enjoying the game, enjoying the different strategies, and also the great timing of this happening before MLG Anaheim. Production was pretty good. This was more of a production test, and I'm not putting words in the mouth of Red Bull. I'm just saying from my observation, there was kind of more of a production test for more things to come out of the training grounds there in the Santa Monica office. And this is also a big influence for Rob Simpson. You know, him being there, having been involved in esports with the MLG and other events, and with StarCraft, he understands what is needed. He understands how to communicate properly. It's just difficult when you have to convince other people in different companies as well to say, hey, you know, this is something that is really, really attractive to younger audiences that are now getting out of college, that are now making business decisions, and we want to be involved in this. We want to be involved in this space. And Red Bull's doing a pretty good job of it, along with other energy drinks like Monster and others over there in Korea. So it's good to see your guys' thoughts overall on the event. I tried to watch as much as I could. I thought it was neat that they waited to the end of Home Story Cup until they continued the finals, or the final day. I thought it was a great nod. Dave?
I mean, if there's one company that's good at just like doing something for the sake of spectacle, it's Red Bull. So I think it's a great fit, and it's like we mentioned a little bit earlier. It's perfect. It's a perfect fit for the scene outside of WCS stuff.
Yeah.
It's just entertaining. Like, nobody looks at that and says, "Oh, that means Golden's better than so and so," or something like that. It's not about the competition. It's about the spectacle and the players, and that's good. We need more of that in the scene, to be honest.
Because I think we see a little bit better personality of the players because of that. And it's still, they're in their element of being at a competition, but it's less stress upon them because it's not, again, 256 people in the top 16 to Korea, and they're gonna have to battle their way through. And they get more exposure because of it as well. Yes, it was 8 invited people. They already knew who it was. But it was great to have Vibe and Select sit next to each other and talk about different gameplay. It was great to have Select come out of retirement more or less out of Dota 2 to come back to StarCraft. Dota 2 is a great game, and to Select, you need somebody to play support for you, hit me up because I can totally do it. But it's a nice type of event. And what I would like to see more of for those events is larger crowds, is more crowd interaction. And if you're like, hey, here's a $50 ticket for the weekend, and all of the proceeds for the live audience people to come interact with the players goes to the players, or 25% or 50% of those proceeds. So it's like, hey, I want to go meet the player. I buy a $50 ticket. I get a little package from the person that made the event, like Red Bull, like maybe a T-shirt, and then the players sign the T-shirt or something like that. And you have a max of 100 people that show up, or 150 people that show up. That's neat, and you feel that you're a part of something that is completely going to the players, and also the helping the sponsor, the people that they were able to make that event. Again, I feel, and this is a big thing for me, I'm going to continue saying this throughout the entire year, we need more live events with live crowds for us to participate in, because as much as we love online leagues and watching it, it's way different when you have an actual crowd there.
I agree, but I don't know if like the Red Bull training grounds would be the quite the proper venue for that kind of thing, because when you have a live crowd and you have to base your event around a live crowd, you can't do certain production things. You can't tell the story of players quite as well.
Yeah, well, they don't have to change the production, but let's say 50 people could go. Like they had, all right, guys, we're going to have a raffle. All right, first people that sign up, $50 ticket, we're going to have a cookout. We're going to have a good time. Yeah. It's kind of like a party with the players, and then they get to sit and watch the finals at the end.
Yeah, something like that works if you have time and it's a small enough, I guess, event.
Yeah. It makes the victory a little bit bigger for the finals as well when they win. And then you have a crowd cheering for them. The studio at ESL, they have live crowds for a lot of their games too. And even though it's not a huge crowd, it still adds more to the production value and it adds more to what's at stake. Definitely. So yeah, congratulations to Take over at Home Story Cup and to Red Bull. I look forward to seeing more great stuff coming out from them, because they do create a specific product that is fun to watch, and that's all it comes down to. Is this actually fun to watch? Next new generation of Korean domination. We have Golden doing well at this invited tournament, and we had Stardust do very well at DreamHack. Are we going to see more Koreans, you guys think, that are not as well established compared to the ones that we've seen in the last 2 years start taking charge and getting some wins under their belt?
I think always it's an organic thing with any sort of sport. I actually sort of expected some other names to rise up a little bit quicker, but yeah, I think it's pretty organic to see this kind of thing come through. Like when in Brood War, it was kind of like, we've got Savior, we've got Bisu and that kind of stuff, and then Bisu sort of beats Savior, and then people start rising up, and then in 2007, I think it was, Flash came onto the scene, and Jadong and this kind of stuff. So I think it is really good. I've liked watching Stardust for quite a while because of one of his first games in Pro League when they first started using SC2 in the hybrid tournament, when he did the fast third base with mass cannons, mothership into mass carriers thing. That was just hilarious to watch. So I've sort of kept peripheral vision on him for quite a while now. So I'm really happy that he's done really well. As people said, the Protoss version of Pult. He looks a little bit similar to Pult, but yeah.
Yeah, and having these live events too, more of them at least, you get more of that spectacle of the different players and more memorable moments. When Pult comes out and says, "Cheer for me!" He's super excited. Yeah. That is more lasting to me than the gameplay of Pult. Pult, when I think of him, I do think of how he's able to spread out his forces and have those concave maneuvers that you think he's dead, but he's not, so many different times, and that's his play style. But it's those interactions with them on the stage and their victories and their words they'll have for their opponents sometimes that to me is lasts longer because it's more unique compared to just the gameplay. So those are the moments I really want to see highlighted more and captured more. But yeah,
I will say this about like the sort of upcoming like Korean players thing is it's very different from the way we have upcoming players in NA or EU. Mm-hmm. You won't have a situation like Suppy with Korean players where he just like comes out of nowhere and is suddenly winning tournaments and signed to a team. That's just not how it works over there. Any of the up and coming players that we see from the Korean campus right now are players that have been there for a while, and now they're just getting their chance.
Yeah.
It's not like a surprise that Stardust or Golden or people like that are doing well because, like you said, for example, Stardust has been playing in Pro League for a while already. It's just like now he is that younger generation, but it's like nobody's surprised when in Major League Baseball when a player like a highly rated player that's been in farm leagues comes up to the majors and starts doing well. It's the same thing.
Yeah, and it's a perfect example or sign of how much more evolved the scene is there, because you do have talent scouts that will go around and find these people and say, holy shit, this kid's got like 400 APM and he's beating Grandmasters players all the time. Why hasn't anyone picked him up? And they're like, oh, well, he's only like 4 years old. Why don't we pick him up now, get him training with a proper team and get him into the environment where he's going to compete later on. So yeah, I think it's a perfect example of why their side of the coin is a little bit more evolved. Not to say that there's anything wrong with the fact that Western scene is still very far behind, in my opinion, but it's just sort of, it goes to show that, at some sort of point, the community will get to that sort of stage where they start growing the kids up. So.
Well, smaller events like Shotcraft America, I got to see more of Root Kane, which was a player who had really no presence whatsoever, and now he does, and he was at Red Bull as well, and so he's an up-and-coming player that people are looking at. And if you give them within their own smaller areas, if you give them a chance to shine, that allows the audience to see more of their exploits instead of just getting overcrowded and overshadowed by all the Korean victories, which is great, and that's why those smaller events are great. Now, let's move back into bigger events like Pro League, which is the longest event, an 8-month event. I'm gonna confession bear here. I haven't watched that much in the last month and a half, and when I do watch it, I watch it in Korean because I want to practice my Korean that way. I don't know what the story's evolving to. I know EG was down, now they're back up, but a lot of this has just been on the sidelines for me. Yeah, I know. A lot of this has just been on the sidelines for me because I've been so focused on WCS. So, your guys' thoughts on Pro League, and can Pro League actually exist along with WCS?
Yeah.
It needs to improve its production. That's the biggest
problem.
Especially
for the English side, yeah.
Especially for the English side. Like, it's still, like, almost my favorite, like, nightly content to watch because the games are just so good and the players, the way they play is very entertaining. But, like, it's hard to keep watching something if you have to mute it like every night, or watch it in a language you don't understand. And it hurts our audience because of the time of it too. It's all very late at night.
Yeah, it's difficult because of that for you guys. It also sort of in a way even for us over here because it's on at it's on at about 2 p.m. Like the first match of the day is usually on at like 2 p.m. So it is kind of difficult a little bit. It's like an awkward time for everyone because it's not as if it's like, it's my lunch break. I can catch some some Pro League or anything like that. I think I've mentioned like quite a lot is there is like a lot of story and marketing availability in Pro League just because it does go for so long. And like, yeah, I've sort of said for a long time, I really don't like short events. Like I still think the WCS thing and the way GOM was is just too short. I don't like it at all. It doesn't really help with generating story.
Like a season? You think a season is too short for WCS?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It should be 6 months. Would be much more fun. Like how many
grand finals for that season?
Yeah. Like
how
much
downtime would you want after the season finals?
Oh, I don't know, a few months or something like that for the players to get a bit of a break, and then in that time you can either have you can have like the more sort of grassroots or original sort of stuff for like Home Story and Red Bull and stuff like that. It's just like it just doesn't. There's not enough time, and there's so many events that go on.
There's too much like daily stuff happening or weekly stuff happening right now. Like you have WCS NA and EU, and then you have 2 different Korean like daily tournaments that are happening. It's just like you can't keep track of it all.
Yeah.
Even if you wanted to.
And
There's just so much.
I focus on America. That's my first focus right now. I just focus on America. Same for World of Tanks. There's multiple things for World of Tanks. And I just watch the American stuff, which is us.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's like and like the thing that I sometimes think is how many like real life sports, pro sports sort of things, like your basketball, your football, your soccer and whatever. How many of those go for like a month and a half? How many? None. They all go for like 6 months plus at a minimum. I don't know how long NFL goes for, but for here in Australia, for the Australian Football League, it goes for like, I'm pretty sure it's 10 months or something, basically the entire year. And it helps because you get situations where a team can go 15 losses in a row, and then suddenly, near the end of the season, they beat one of the top teams, and it's like, oh my god, it's insane what's happening, and all this kind of stuff. And there's much more story.
You get a build up.
I think I don't know. You need to find a medium between the two, because that sounds a little bit too long for me, because it makes each week less important, and I feel like there's already a problem where like,
oh yeah, like,
so
I don't think
each week isn't
I'd
as
say
important.
So Pro League is the closest thing to the traditional sports system, and would you say that it is too long, that people are falling off from watching or paying attention because it's too long?
No, I think I mean, the StarCraft scene is so weird because like other esports scenes just don't care that much about like a Korean scene that you have like ridiculous hours to try to watch.
Yeah.
Until it's like the finals time.
It's not a primetime event for America.
Yeah, you look at like
time.
Yeah, you look at like League of Legends, for example, just because that's the big daddy out there right now. They have the same situation with LCS, where they have NA and EU at different times, and then they have the Korean OGN series, I think, at like a ridiculous time for NA people to watch. And people just the NA scene for League of Legends just doesn't follow it that much until it comes down towards like the playoffs or like stuff like that. Then people will tune in. So it's weird. Like there's almost nothing they can do to make people be able like want to watch something every week at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen.
That doesn't work. That's why we don't have football at 5 o'clock in the morning in America. That's why you have Monday Night Football, 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night? Yeah, time is a huge factor in when things are live. And that's another reason why Blizzard wanted to have the 3 separate WCS events in the different regions, because they want to grow those regions outside of Korea. I want to grow those regions outside of Korea. I want to know everything about what's happening in America, plus because I'm involved in it, and I want that story to shine when it comes to the finals, because that's the region that I want to support. Yes, we're going to have Korean players. Yes, we're going to have other players, but that's the region I want to support. That's the storyline I want to tell and be involved in. I have to understand there's things I cannot do. I cannot watch every World of Tanks match. I cannot watch every StarCraft match. There's no human that can do that and watch every match and get all the stats. Maybe Apollo, but even him, he might be a little bit sleep deprived. But that's what makes him so good, because he watches pretty much everything. Same with Artosis. But they have lives, and you have to balance it. And they have to focus on what is the relevant story in their region and how can they get that story across.
Yeah, and that's okay. Like, everybody in North America doesn't need to watch Pro League. Like, they just don't. The more people that focus on their region, the better, because it'll help grow that home region.
Yep. I feel that way. I feel that way, man. Okay. So let's talk about this region for this weekend, MLG Anaheim. MLG Anaheim's usually the biggest MLGs every year. News flash, I will not be hosting, but I still will be involved in a certain way. And I plan to physically be there Saturday and Sunday. So if you guys are going to be there, I definitely would love to chat up and talk to you guys and do a quick handshake, hello, and a wink and a smile and all that good jazz, talking to fans. I'm pretty... what? Duckville? Huh?
Oh, I won't be there. No.
Okay. Darn.
I'm busy that day.
We got to get you there. We got to get you to one of these. We got to make a PayPal account or a Kickstarter or something. I'm excited for it, mainly because I'm excited to see a lot of my friends, and I'm excited for the 128-man open bracket, and I think that's going to be really cool.
Oh, yeah.
It's a no holds barred, it almost reminds me of those WWE matches where everybody's just in the ring and the last person that survives in the ring wins. You know, if you get knocked out, then you're out. It kind of reminds me of that. So I'm really looking forward to it. And Dave, you're going to be there. I look forward to seeing you and getting to hang out with you, which is going to be fun.
And, been too long.
Yeah, it's been too long. Now, let's go over the player list. This is on the website for MLG. I'm going to throw it up in chat real quick so you guys can see. We got Apocalypse. We got Apocalypse, who is from Quantic at one time. And we got Cats, DeMuslim, Complexity Fire Zerk, Dragon says he's going to be there, Drewby.
Desro.
We actually, some of the guys play Drewby in World of Tanks sometimes. Pretty fun. Desros will be there. Heart, Hello Kitty, Henderlisk, Hero, Huck, Huangsin, Hyun, Illusion in Control. Grubby, Kawaii Rice. Live in Pink will be there. She signed up. Maximus Black, Minigun, Moonglade from Australia will be there. Naniwa, Nathanius. Noni. Ostoji.
J-Dong, man?
He's in the J's. J-Dong.
J-Dong.
Okay. J-Dong will be there. I'm just literally going through the list and scrolling down. QXC, Puck, Polt,
Sage, Sasquatch, Sase.
That's right.
Shu, Select.
Spanishiwa, LZ Gamer, the STC, Trimaster, Tubby the Fat is going to be there. Xenocider. So this is what's crazy is when I go through this list, I'm thinking of all these names of back in the 2010, 2011 days. Select there. Suppy will be there. I've kind of seen of the who's who. I don't know. I don't see Select on there. Maybe he got added later. Oh, there he is. He's
on there.
It's kind
Noni too.
Noni, yeah, Liquid Noni. It was the who's who of StarCraft in 2010 and 2011, and that's what a lot of these names remind me of, man. Before the Korean invasion happened in Columbus of 2011. And the results after that, and that to me is it's exciting. It's going back to that time when you knew anyone could win this, not just the Koreans only.
That's the best part about like a nice open bracket like this. It's just anything can happen.
Yep. So I'll be involved. What I'm going to be involved in, because I don't know if that's public yet. Friday night, and then Saturday I'll be doing hopefully some filming for some WCS promotional stuff and interviews with the players and all sorts of things, and also just to enjoy my time there because I miss live crowds. I really miss them. I've been working so much behind the scenes on so many things, and I just want to grab a microphone and shout, "Are you ready?" so many times, you know. I really look forward to it, and I look forward to MLG's production. They do a really good job. They have a good team. Look forward to seeing some friends there as well. Big shout out, of course, to Puckett and Contini and Ryan and everybody, and of course Adam and Sundance. You know, with a lot of the craziness and things that happen in the business world, even in esports, which is they're still trying to figure stuff out. We're all still trying to figure stuff out. They're still holding some things down. And also, League of Legends is going to be there, where there's going to be some cosplayers, I'm sure. And Call of Duty will be there. And Call of Duty, I'm excited for. I think that Treyarch's doing a great job. Call of Duty Ghosts, no idea how dogs are going to be involved in esports on that side, but for Black Ops 2, they're doing some great things. So I'm glad that they're still continuing that. No fighting games.
I just want someone to cosplay their dog.
Yeah, we can get Chance to do it.
There you go.
But Chance. Anyways, your guys' thoughts.
His helmet. Good.
Yeah, your guys' thoughts.
I've already said it. Anything could happen with the open bracket. I'm really excited for League and Call of Duty, which is kind of weird for me to say because I'm not a fan of that game. But the crowd's showing. The crowd is showing up, man. Yep. They've already. I think they've already sold out on spectator passes online and everything like that, which is pretty crazy. Like it should be a huge event. Right on. Which is great considering a lot of people were worried with the late StarCraft announcements and things like that.
That was tough, but a lot of things are being figured out because of that. And this is technically, I believe, still a WCS tier event, which is good. So,
I believe so.
Yeah. It's tough, man. I mean, there are a lot of movers and shakers in the business right now, trying to take the next step, trying to take the next growth period, and there's going to be growing pains because of it. And people will be unhappy for a while, but things will get smoothed over. That's how it works. That's the cycle of evolution.
Just on a couple of names that you missed that I really want to keep an eye out for.
Phil, who we missed?
Oh no!
Shout out to the C players we missed.
Yeah, there's like 15 C players here you guys missed. God, no. But no, just a couple because there are a lot of really good players there. Illusion.
Oh yeah.
Yep, Illusion. 17-year-old now, I think.
Yeah, he's actually he's getting close to the age. Who else was there? Oh, Succeed from Root. Really good Protoss player. If anyone's a Protoss player who wants to see some really good solid play apart from Clarity Gaming's Bones, I would also suggest Succeed. There's some replays up on the Root Gaming website. Masan, of course, ex homeless Zerg who is just he's a really good player to watch. Had a chat with him the other day about some of his games in the CNA trials, which we had last weekend, which was really fun. And also, who was it? Sage. I'm not sure if you mentioned Sage.
I think we did, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and Sandbox is also going to be there. Sandy Box, who's another very young player who's really, really good. So, yeah, there's some really good players there. So it should be a lot of fun. Also the Ognis is going to be there, so you can't forget him.
Yep, we mentioned him.
Yep, we didn't.
Should be really cool.
Yes, but we did.
I think, yeah.
So now we did. Now we did mention him. All right, we covered it.
Yeah, the other. The other cool thing, it's cool for me. It doesn't really matter for anyone else, but now because of the new job that I've got, I can actually watch the final day. Because the problem for us here is that the final day is on a Monday morning for us.
Oh, so okay.
A lot of the time, people miss watching it live, so you have to go back and watch the VODs and that kind of stuff, which is not always the same sort of thing, and sometimes people sort of don't get time to watch VODs. So I am actually really happy that I'm going to get to watch this entire event. Maybe I'll stay up. Maybe it'll be entirely live at the time, but yeah, I can at least get to watch the whole thing. So yeah, and Moonglade and Tilia will be there as well. So.
Cool. Oh, Tilia will be there. Great.
Nice.
It's a lot of SEA representation, man. Hopefully I can get some interviews with them. Was it Anaheim last year when a lot of the SEA players went? Okay.
Yeah, when the MV guys came over, I think it was Anaheim.
Was it Anaheim?
I can't remember. It was so long ago. There's been like 83 GSL since then, so I can't.
Yeah, I don't think it was Anaheim. It was Dallas. Yeah, it was Dallas. It was Dallas. It was the final event of the year for 2012. Yeah, cool. Very excited. Very excited. A couple days away. You guys don't want to miss it. It starts 5:30 p.m. Friday night. That's Pacific time. And if you're in the area, please show up. I'm going to be there Saturday and Sunday. It'll be a brutal time, man. It's kind of like a family reunion, like going to those things. Let's shift gears now and talk about some Dota, as we got about 15 minutes left of the show. Dota 2 news, Na'Vi is now in China. It looks like they moved there instead of moving to Southern California. It's okay, guys. China is the biggest scene when it comes to Dota, so we understand. But best of luck to you guys as you're there. And also, Beyond the Summit, my boys in my backyard, their studio has did a little bit of upkeep, a little bit for the Alienware Cup. So congratulations to them. Looks like the investment is paying off for them. I hardly see those guys. I mean, they see Kevin and Blitz, and they're working hard, and they're trying to make it work for them. And good on them. They had a vision. They wanted to execute it right, and they did so. And I'm always willing to help them out if time willing with anything, because Dota is also one of the games I want to cover. It's tough, man. It's tough to try to cover 3 different games because I'm so focused on World of Tanks and StarCraft, but it might be possible.
It's pretty big that Na'Vi's over there. Obviously, a very big scene for Dota 2, but they've lately been playing a little bit and it's kind of been Na'Vi, what's going on there, guys?
Yeah,
because
I saw that. I heard about that.
Yeah, last night in the Alienware thing, they were just a little bit sketchy in one of their games. They got absolutely annihilated in game 1 versus Tongfu. It was like what was it? I'm pretty sure it was like a 20-minute GG or something like that. They just got completely destroyed. And, of course, all the fanboys will be like, they're not bringing out their proper strategies until the international, so it doesn't matter, guys. But, it's still, I still stick with the motto that my basketball coach taught me when I was like 5 years old or whatever it was, is that what you do in practice is what you do in the real game. So I think if, while they don't have to bring up their cool new strategies, like their pocket strats, where they have like an all-fish team featuring Tidehunter and the Slaughter and Naga and stuff like that.
Slark.
Yeah, you can still play proper games and still do really well. So
yeah, even if it's to the bare bones fundamentals and nothing tricky, you still want to play well.
Exactly. Yeah. Like you can bring out old TI2 lineups and stuff like that. But anyway, yeah. So should be interesting to see how they go there. I would like to see them do a little bit better. And as we warm up for the International 3 later on this year, lucky you guys, or some of you guys, get to go. And also, what was I going to mention? Full release of the game. Going to be before the International.
Yep,
so,
soon.
pretty big thing there coming up. Unfortunately, not going to be the release of Techies, but, you know, that'll come.
Yeah. I look forward to it. Again, I feel kind of bad I can't make it to the International, but we have the World of Tanks finals event happening the following week, and I need to be at 100% making sure that that's good to go with all sorts of pre-production. But I'll be able to go to PAX Prime, which is the end of that month in August, and I'm looking forward to that as well. But wish all the best for all those teams as they get closer and closer to that big event. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to be watching this year because a lot of people were watching last year. And it's kind of funny, too, because that was around the time when I moved in with my parents after college for about 2 weeks before I moved out to California. So as that gets closer, I start to realize, wow, I have been in California for nearly a year. That's crazy. 2 months away. All right. Let's go ahead and jump over to World of Tanks since the qualifiers are complete for season number 1 for the American side. They were a huge success, had a lot of great games, and we were very excited for all the teams that were able to qualify, and they'll be joining the 8 invited teams. Now, there will be a group drawing here pretty soon to determine who will be in the different conferences. There's 2 conferences set up during the league play, and I'm looking forward to how that is going to be lined into place there for those different teams. And then league play begins July 11th, and the league play goes for 3 weeks. And after those 3 weeks, we get prepped for the live finals. So the qualifiers were a lot of fun, but we're just getting started, and there's a lot of great gameplay out there. And what's big, too, is that teams in Russia and Europe are watching the broadcast, and they're going, wow, America's, they've got a voice now, and we're going to watch and see how they're able to execute in their different strategies. Because, one, WCG is huge because World of Tanks is going to be there again. And last year, Wave Knight lost to the Red Rush. But it's always kind of that Russia versus America type of mentality for the West and the East for those different teams. And 2, the global finals happening later in 2014 is going to be big as well. Those different nations representing their different areas and also highlighting their different play styles and teams. So it's really cool seeing the different areas grow and grow and grow, and then seeing the international mix twice within 6 months of each other. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yes.
And I plan on being WCG, plan on being one of the commentators for World of Tanks. So I'll let you guys know when that's official, hopefully. But it's on the calendar. Hopefully that'll make it so. All right. So I want to go ahead. Go ahead.
Just slow it down.
All right, man. All right.
I was
Calm down
actually,
there, buddy.
Better pump the brakes, kid.
I have a couple questions for you.
Sure, go ahead.
First off, can you talk about the viewership of World of Tanks? Like, what kind of numbers were you guys getting?
Our numbers were sometimes in the thousands and sometimes in the hundreds. And 1, because it was qualifiers, so the teams weren't as well known. And 2, the Western scene is still growing for World of Tanks. So the viewership wasn't huge, but we were still happy with it. We knew the viewership was not going to be as big as other games, but knowing that, we still put on a great show, and everyone commented for the show. The viewership is obviously way higher in Russia and Europe. South Korea viewership, I only watch the VODs, so I don't know what the live stream's at. The VOD numbers are all right for the English broadcast.
I think they actually do pretty good over there.
Yeah, I haven't watched the Korean broadcast. I mean, the live audience is huge for World of Tanks, and the game is definitely growing in South Korea. Because as I spoke to a friend of mine that lives in Korea, he says that kind of this generation of South Korean players like the quote-unquote easiness of League of Legends compared to RTS games. like StarCraft. And so then you have World of Tanks.
Casuals. South Korea casuals.
You have World of Tanks, which is not dependent on APM. It's dependent on team strategy and execution in a different type of gameplay compared to Dota 2 or League of Legends. And this is a type of game that they are really attracted to. You have a team-type format. It's a little bit of older generation, more established kind of gamers that are really into it. And you have a lot of history buff type people that are into it as well. So you have, I think, maybe not as big of an audience, but a broader audience for the game in the West. You have many different types of gamers that really enjoy playing World of Tanks.
Well, you've kind of sold it on me, so I need to check out one of y'all's broadcasts.
Oh, Day of Defeat players.
Yeah, Day of Defeat players, man. That's right.
I have one other question from a mutual friend of ours, Jake/Mandalore. We talk a lot about, or you talk a lot about the broadcast, but he was wondering about your personal experience playing the game, like what sort of tanks you play, what your favorite country might be.
Well, America, because I love freedom and I love spreading freedom across the battlefield.
Of course.
That's like the biggest joke question ever. As an American, which is your favorite team to play? Oh, I love Russia.
Dude,
Russia's
well, like
amazing.
Jake's as American as they come, but he loves the French tanks.
Yeah, the French tanks are phenomenal. When I first thought French tanks, they lost the war. Like, no, they lost the War I because their World War I tanks were fantastic. And they were so good they got cocky, and because of that, the Blitzkrieg happened for Germany. So after that, they got really good with their tanks.
I heard that some French tanks go faster in reverse than forward. Can you confirm or deny that?
I can either confirm or deny that. They go fast and they blow up because that's what I usually do in my games. I blow up those French tanks on the opposite team. The Russian tanks, this comes down to culture. American culture, we love to romanticize infantry and air combat. Be that movies, television, history, etc., because that was more of what we were exposed to. The Eastern scene, such as Russia, they are more into the tank warfare because that's more of the type of warfare that they had. They had a lot of armored combat warfare. And then, yes, I know I'm overgeneralizing history here, but they fought on land and had to defend their motherland more than we did. We fought once, we got bombed on Pearl Harbor, and the rest was away from our homeland. So if you think of infantry on the ground and then aerial troop movements and then aerial combat, that's kind of how we've romanticized World War II more. So because of that with the tank warfare, one, the Russians did a fantastic job with their tank warfare. And with the type of armor sloping they had, the hemispherical cast turrets that they had for the IS-3, when those rolled down in the parades after the end of World War II, the West goes, oh no, we have got to make something that can destroy those because right now they would completely destroy us in armored warfare. So because of that...
Are you giving a historical reason why Russian players are better at this game?
Yes, it is a cultural reason. It's just like why Koreans are better at StarCraft because their culture fosters it better. They're more technologically advanced, their internet is way better. It helps them be better gamers. And so for Russia, they're more impassioned about watching World of Tanks broadcasts and playing World of Tanks.
I thought you were going to say... like.
Also, it's a Russian game, right?
Yeah, it's a Belarusian game. But yeah, go ahead.
When you said that's why Koreans are better at StarCraft, I was thinking they were invaded by the Zerg.
There was that Zerg time.
No, they've got motherships.
I saw Starship Troop.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, man. My grandfather fought in the Korean War. Anyways, I'm not making up facts as I go. This is just historical and cultural observations
no.
of how it leads into games. Anyways, so that's another reason why it's big, and also it first was released in Russia. So if you just want a simple answer, it's because it came out in Russia first. And that's why it's huge. But it's still growing, and I like playing it because again, it doesn't have the super high stress APM as StarCraft does, and you have a larger team in the pub games, and you get to plan better. You get to sit back and think, okay, I'm going to do this, and you get to execute it. And if it worked well, you feel, oh, yes, that was awesome. And then you have those clutch moments. Like, for example, I was up against 4 against 1. It was only me left, and I had to destroy the rest of the 4 tanks in order to win, and I was able to do so. And so you have all those kind of combined in that type of experience, and it's a lot of fun. My biggest thing that I say to players, and I talked to DJ Weed about this, and I talked to Wargaming about this, is that there's a lot of information up front that is very, very difficult and daunting if you're a new player to try to understand. And so go through the tutorial and then make a personal goal for yourself. Say, okay, I want to unlock the M4 Sherman. So I need to go down that tank tree, play those different tanks, unlock what I can, and finally get to it. And then once you get to it, you realize, man, it's so much fun playing this tank. What's next for me? And then you set another goal. Okay, I want to unlock the T-32. And a lot of players will be able to identify the different tanks that the pros use, and they'll think, okay, I want to unlock that tank for me so I can play it. And that's how you have that connection between the audience and the gamer. Just like the connection of when you have different build orders or different strategies you see for StarCraft 2, or for League of Legends, or for Dota 2.
What would you say? Because I had a couple of friends, the guys who I usually hang out in Mumble with, they gave it a shot to play some more of the tanks, and they found, like, just straight up when they were starting, and they're not the people to like.
I'm laughing at sex comments. Sorry, or SQUK.
Yeah,
Skek.
Yeah, it was like huge. Yeah. Very nicely done.
Terrible. All right, Duckville. Duckville, make your. Thanks, Dylan. I miss you, Dylan. All right, Duckville, what's your point?
So my friends who you know. They started, and they were just completely frustrated at the fact that, you know, they've got these low-level tanks, and they're playing, and they're, you know, up against these people who have much higher tiered tanks. What do you sort of say to people who are sitting there and saying, why should I even play this game because I'm just constantly getting destroyed by these other people?
You're not up against higher tiered tanks. The different tank that you choose, there's a certain tier limit that you'll go against. So sometimes if you're like in a tier 4, you'll go up against 2 3s and 4s, or sometimes you'll go up against 3s and 4s, and maybe depending on the tank you go up against 4, 5, and 6s. So there is a bit of a little variance, but within the tier 1 tank, you're only going to be up against tier 1 or tier 2, maybe tier 3 opponents. So they have a system to where you're not going to get destroyed by a tier 10 tank if you're using a tier 1 tank in the pub games.
I have a less PC answer. Leveling up fucking sucks in every free-to-play game. It sucks in League of Legends because you get owned by people that have masteries and stuff like that, or just whatever new champion is out that's OP. It sucks in World of Tanks. It sucks in every free game, and it has to suck.
Except Dota. Except Dota.
Well,
you don't have
Dota's not out yet.
You don't have progression levels in Dota. You have items in Dota.
It sucks in every free-to-play game.
No, it's still great,
and it has to suck so they can sell the idea that you can do it faster.
Dota. Thank you very much.
Yeah. You have to give an incentive for the player to keep playing. Like, man, I wish I had that guy's tank. And then he keeps playing and unlocks that tank, and then he destroys noobs himself. But it's not... at first, when you're like, man, a lot of it is I don't understand how to play this game. I don't understand how armor works, how shells bounce, how to properly position my tank. Once you understand that, no matter what tier you play, you'll do way better. It's understanding the fundamentals of the game and how it works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which I didn't when I first played it. I was like, okay, I'm going to go out and I get shot and I'm dead. Why did I die? How did that happen? I mean, it's a lot of information, but once you get that information, you start enjoying it a lot more. Do you have any other questions?
Nope.
Okay. All right. I'm not saying the game's for everyone, but I enjoy it. And
I just like making fun of it. It's fun. It's fun. The times I have played it, it's fun. Yeah. I'll have to watch some of it. But it's just fun to take shots at.
Yeah.
I play way too much League, and I still take shots at that game.
Ice Cream Man! Hello, Ice Cream Man. I will take a Choco Taco, please. Can you...
What?
Do you have change for a 10? No? Oh, it's free? Okay, cool. Thanks. Choco Taco! I'll eat that later. All right.
You have a chocolate taco ice cream? What the hell is wrong with your country?
This is America, man.
It's America, dude.
Is it not deep fried as well or something?
We do not discriminate.
That's the KFC Choco Taco.
Yeah, we do not
surrounded by 2
discriminate.
pieces of fried chicken.
We do not discriminate the type of ice cream delivery or outside shell. If you want a cone, you can get a cone. If you want that cone in the shape of a taco, you can get it in the shape of a taco. Bueno. Okay. Let's talk about Tomb Raider real quick, as we got a little bit of time left. I played this game on Steam. I really enjoyed it. To me, it felt like a cross of Far Cry 3 and Uncharted. It wasn't as long as Uncharted or Far Cry 3, but I felt that they did a good job with it, trying to reboot the franchise. And I felt connected to the characters, so when some of them died, I was like, oh, bummer. And I think that they scripted it very well. Ending could have been better, but I was very impressed by Square Enix and the Crystal Dynamics team that was able to create this game. So if you haven't played it, it's definitely worth a playthrough. If you can get it on Steam at a discounted price, fantastic. Go for it. It was about 8-9 hour playthrough. It was fun. You get to play a lot with a bow and arrow, which was always sweet. And then if you could set things on fire with napalm with the bow and arrow, that's always fun. So I really enjoyed it. So I'll probably have like a 5-minute review video coming out on YouTube in the next week or two to give you guys a better sense of how I really liked it and how those type of action-adventure games still...
That's another one to add to the list.
Yeah.
Of the games that I've never played before ever. Tomb Raider.
What game?
What?
What?
Confused.
Sorry, that's another game to add to the list of games that I've never played in any version.
Yeah.
Just like
Oh,
Zelda
yeah.
Fantasy.
Oh, you mean you've never played any iteration version? Okay.
Yeah.
I've played a demo of one of them, but only for 2 reasons. You can guess what 2 reasons those were. The
You're a fan of history and you like the Indiana Jones movies.
I loved the holsters for her dual pistols. Yeah, that was it. No, it was good, and the way they presented Laura was really well done. I felt like she's not helpless. Obviously, she never has been in any of the games, but she was a victim. Like, she was getting beat up and stuff. You're like, oh my gosh, ow! And then when you fight back, it feels the vengeance is stronger. You're like, yeah, I'm a girl launching grenades at you, man. So it was cool. Anyways, moving on real quick, Battlefield 4. A lot of people are really jazzed up about this game. A lot of people are saying really good things about the Frostbite system. Shout out to Trumpet M Cool, by the way. I haven't seen you in a while, sir.
Yeah.
In the chat. They've really enjoyed what has been released so far. I'm super excited about Commander Mode and VoIP being established again. It's making a return after why it was gone. I have no idea for Battlefield 3. So I'm very happy about that. And I will get it. I'll probably have to upgrade my PC to fully enjoy that one, but I really liked it. All right, wrapping up here. Da Vinci's Demons. If you haven't seen this show, make sure to check it out. It just had its season finale in episode 8. One of the coolest things, and I apologize if you consider this spoilers, but you get to see what's inside the Vatican's secret archives. They have a dragon's skull, the sword in the stone, the spear of destiny, and I'm sitting there going, oh man! This stuff is so cool. If that actually existed. So it was really, really cool. Huge props to David S. Goyer, the lead writer for that show. He was also one of the lead writers for the Batman Dark Knight series and Man of Steel recently. So it was a project of his. I really enjoyed it. World War Z has been released. I thought this was going to be a huge flop. Critics are actually saying it's good. Audiences are going to go see it. I'll probably see it this week.
Whoa, let's be careful there. It's been mixed reviews,
Mixed
mixed reviews, with a general consensus leaning towards good.
Okay, thank you, Doc Phil, for your...
Sorry, no, I read
approach.
through because I was actually really interested in going to see it, but I wasn't that interested. I sat the day before, and read a lot of reviews, and it was kind of like I don't know what's going on because there's so many reviews that people will say, yeah, it's really good, as long as you haven't read the books, as long as you don't go expecting a fantastic zombie movie.
That's
okay, cool. And then there's the people who will say, yeah, it was kind of average, and all the big scenes were actually in the trailer, so it doesn't actually matter. That kind of stuff. So
68% on Rotten Tomatoes, 86 for the audience rating.
yeah,
So
Wow.
pretty average.
so it's very mixed. I think based on people's perceptions of if they go in expecting the book, like we mentioned this before we started the show, if you go in expecting the book, you're going to be thoroughly disappointed.
Yeah.
If you go in just to have, your average Thursday night or what is it here? It's Tuesday night, cheap tickets night, and you just have an average night, then you should be okay.
All right. Well, I was kind of hoping it was going to be a huge bomb because that would end the era of zombies and entertainment, except for The Walking Dead, because it's overplayed right now. But if it's successful and the audience still wants it, great. Let's keep doing it. That's fine. Okay, and finally, time to opine real quick, gentlemen. One thing I noticed about Tomb Raider is the single player was great. The multiplayer was bleh, especially on PC where we had hosts, and I had to wait for the migration of a host, and I thought, what? is it even worth a game title such as Tomb Raider or another title like BioShock? Is it even worth them to make multiplayer? BioShock Infinite had no multiplayer, and I felt that was a smart choice because it allows the budget to go more towards a single-player experience. Does lackluster multiplayer hurt the entire product? Your thoughts, Dave?
I think it's if it's lackluster, then yeah, there's really no point to it. But there's also been a lot of very good single player games that have had surprisingly decent multiplayers. Like I think BioShock 2 comes to mind. The Assassin's Creed games have pretty fun multiplayer, for example. So I don't know. I don't really know. I guess it depends on. As long as it doesn't hurt the single-player experience for certain games. It really depends on the game. Game like Mass Effect, if it didn't have multiplayer, wouldn't give a shit, because it's all I care about is a single player.
Yeah.
But it also adds a lot of replayability to games, and I mean, come on, we're all competitive people here. We love multiplayer games, so... I don't know, man. It's like, if you can pull it off, do it. If it's going to hurt the single-player experience for a game like Tomb Raider, a game like Mass Effect, Assassin's Creed, BioShock, whatever... then no, I say skip it.
I mean, the reason why Call of Duty is so successful is because of its multiplayer, not because of its single player.
That's for sure.
Yeah, that's a multiplayer game. Duckville, your thoughts on that?
It depends on the case. Like, there have been a few games where it's kind of like, why did you even bother putting multiplayer in? Because it's just silly. And the main one that comes to mind for me is The Settlers. I have no freaking clue why that game has multiplayer in it. It's a high top-down level, complete bird's eye view level economy management game. Yet for some reason they put multiplayer in it. But yeah, I think I would rather see things much more directed towards single player, as long as the product isn't favorable to multiplayer. Like how many times do you go to like a LAN or something and say, let's play some multiplayer Sins of a Solar Empire? And
but Civ 5, for example, great multiplayer game.
Yeah. I haven't actually played Civ 5 yet.
It's actually really fun, man. It's like I mean, it's fun like Risk is fun. Like if you like that kind of thing, you have good people to play with. But.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's very dependent on the game. But yeah, definitely in the cases where they've taken it where they don't have any on purpose, it's really good. Like as you said, BioShock, you just didn't need it. It's a fun story. It's a really interesting story and that kind of stuff. So
I would like to sit down with some game developers and ask that question too, because I wonder if some of the publishers have pushed them to make multiplayer because they see the success of Call of Duty. And they're like, well, you're going to have multiplayer because that's how we're going to retain our customers for DLC. Like skins and things like that.
Well, some publishers have gone the opposite way. You look at Titanfall, which has a lot of people, myself included, hyped. No single player at all.
Yeah.
Full multiplayer budget.
Yeah. Why divide the experience when you can integrate it completely?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, co-op mode, with Dead Space was a lot of fun. They had a multiplayer for Dead Space 2, but I never played it. I just thought, why? I don't want to play this in multiplayer.
If I could trade, if there was a single player game and I had to choose between co-op and just like competitive multiplayer, I'd choose co-op like 99% of the time.
Yeah. Well, dude, Gears of War 3 co-op was... I'll never forget that experience playing that with you, man. That was intense.
A lot of fun.
That was great.
Perfect.
Of course, that multiplayer was good too, so I don't know.
Oh, yeah, multiplayer was awesome as well. Multiplayer was great. Perfect Dark, Duckville?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that wasn't as good as GoldenEye, sorry.
No, but I mean for co-op.
I don't know, man. Perfect Dark was really good. As long as you ban that stupid sniper rifle that shoots through walls.
Yeah, the laser rifle.
Best gun ever.
That's the most bullshit thing ever.
Yeah. All right. Well, hopefully I'll have a review for Last of Us by December, because that's when I'm probably going to have time to play it, but I hear a lot of people are really enjoying it. So to all those that are enjoying it, thank you for not spoiling it for me. And that does it for this episode of Shifting Gears. I apologize we could not have it on the Handsome Nerd channel, but because of the Twitch reset, we had to switch over stream keys. Because of that, there was a big mess. Anyways, we got to air it on my channel. So make sure to watch Shifting Gears and other episodes of different shows over there, such as... oh, what do they have? Meta, or at least that's on their Artosis channel for now. They have Starcast, other things. And then you can watch me on my Twitch channel at Clutch08 on Twitch when I'm able to Twitch games here and there. When I have some free time, which is hardly ever. And watch MLG. It's going to be a lot of fun. And check out the World of Tanks North American League happening July 11th when league play begins. And you can follow me on Twitter at Clutch08. Thanks for watching. I'm going to go ahead and throw shout-outs over to Dave and then Duckville, and we'll say our goodbyes. Dave, go ahead.
Shout out to Trumpet. Haven't seen that nerd in a while. Thanks for coming to watch. And shout out to Dylan and Jake for watching. It's pretty cool, you guys. And follow me on Twitter at DBWiggum.
Duckville.
Yeah, I've had a little bit of a break from YouTube casting stuff, so I'm actually getting back into that today after my fun experience with DreamHack. So look out for youtube.com/DuckvilleLol, and I'll be getting some more games up very soon. There's actually a long game that I'm looking to cast today, and hopefully upload that tonight. Other than that, yeah, just thanks for having me on the show. Of course, yeah, MLG this weekend. I will also be live casting the, what's it called? The AVCon $5,000 StarCraft 2 tournament, which is in Adelaide in Australia this Sunday, or I suppose that's Saturday your time. It's going to be, it's sort of like the start time is actually just before MLG, so if anyone wants to watch, you can, I'll be doing a stream off my channel, so it's over at twitch.tv/DuckvilleLol, so you can watch that there if anyone wants to tune in for some C players. Some of our best players will be visible there. But yeah, other than that, thanks for having me. See you later, guys.
All right, thanks for watching, everybody. We will see you next time.